All right, guys, I am just going to level with you today because I want to share a little bit about the current state of the Denver housing market and the housing market in a lot of places nationally. It's no secret that it's really tough for buyers, and it's become tougher and tougher the last couple of years. So really, the better part of the last 2 years, it has been really difficult to the point where it almost feels impossible, depending on your budget and what you're approved for and how much money you have to put down and those types of things. I'm recording this in early 2022, and it is a bloodbath out there. I mean, every weekend working with buyers, which most of us do, is just a frenzy, and it can be very defeating at times. And in 2021, it was the same thing in the early part of the year, and we all kind of thought that that was bad. And there was this idea that, okay, once we get through this, things will level out, which they did later in the year. But then starting January 1st in 2022, due to a number of factors, it just started going crazy immediately, and considerably crazier than it was at least at this point in 2021. So a few things going on. We've had a supply issue for a while. You've heard me talk about that, so we don't need to go into that. But supply is just dramatically low, to the point where anytime a home does go on the market, unless it's got something wrong with it, or it's priced incorrectly, or it's just marketed very poorly, it's selling within the first week, usually the first weekend. Rising interest rates. Interest rates have been low, artificially low, for so long that now the Fed is finally starting to push them up. And they're still going to like 4%, which is historically still crazy low, but it feels higher because it's higher than it's been. And so buyers are seeing that and going, oh crap, interest rates are going to go higher, are going higher. As you know, the higher the interest rate, the more that affects your buying power. So, we got to get in, we got to go buy a house before they go even higher. And we got to lock this in on this 30-year mortgage. And so that's affecting the frenzied buyers out there. There's the fact that rents aren't giving anyone a deal either. I mean, rents are escalating at a rate at least equal to, if not more than, home values. So you got to live somewhere, and normal people are having a really hard time finding somewhere to live. Just a few examples of what's going on right now. As I record this, we're routinely seeing 50 to 100 showings, sometimes a few hundred showings in the first weekend. On certain properties. We are seeing multiple offers on everything, and often double-digit offers, can be 15 to 20 or even more if things get really wild. And we're routinely seeing places go 50 to 100,000 to 150,000 at higher price points over ask price. I was just looking at a townhouse last weekend with a couple. They were interested in it, and they were willing to go, a fair amount over ask price, and it went. By the time we got to Sunday night, we were at 100,000 over ask, and this was in the 400,000 price point. So over 20% over list price, and that's just wild. Beyond that, people are putting together really strong offers in terms. So a lot of limited or waived inspections, full appraisal gap coverage, which we've talked about before, but that's just where you agree to bring the money. In the event that the property appraises lower than the purchase price, you agree to make up the delta in cash. A lot of quick closes. Sometimes people are bringing all cash. That happens a fair amount. 60-day post-occupancy periods where the seller closes on the house, then gets to stay in the home for another 2 months, are very common, oftentimes for free. And so you just got to go ham as a buyer, and even then you might not get it. I mean, I have buyers that have made really strong offers, and it's taken us 6-7 offers to get them in a home. And so it can feel really defeating. And if you have the wrong attitude, or if you don't stay really mentally strong, you can just say, screw this, I'm out, I'll keep renting, or I'll stay in the place I'm at because it's too hard, even if our family's outgrown this home or we're ready to move or whatever. It's just too hard. I don't want to have to deal with this. I'll wait till the market calms down, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But one of my missions in this career, one of my core principles, the reason I do this, the reason I'm a realtor and I help people buy and sell homes, is to help people build wealth through real estate. And a lot of the time, this comes in the form of first-time home buyers. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. I love it. I love being able to assist with that first step towards financial freedom, which if you do real estate correctly over the course of decades, you can achieve. Home ownership is the prime way that normal Americans have built wealth for a century, at least. And wages don't keep up with inflation. A lot of other investments don't. Home prices are one of the few things that do. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, because this rapid appreciation that we've seen, well, that is the benefit, right? That's why you want to be in home ownership, but that's also what makes it so difficult to get in right now. And so for people who are trying to get in, it's really tough. And it can take an emotional, and sometimes it feels like a physical toll on everyone involved, me included. But the question is, what do you do? So number one, do you wait till things calm down? Well, number one, tell me when that's going to be, okay? Because we've been waiting for that for a few years, and so far it hasn't happened. You've seen the Tom Brady meme. It's not calming down. I mean, it will calm down at some point, right? It has to. But what does calming down mean? Are prices going to drop significantly? Almost certainly not. There are no market factors currently at play that will tell us that that's going to happen. People have been asking the housing bubble question for a few years, and a lot of the time they point to 2008, and it's just everything you look at, economic crash, oversupply, and a lot of people being underwater on their home. Those factors that played a big role in that crash in 2008, those are not present now. I mean, in the Denver metro, before that housing crisis, it was something like 30,000 active homes, just a surplus of inventory on the market. And now, we're at, depends on the weekend, but maybe 2,000. I mean, it's just not happening. I posted another video that later this year, once we get through this frenzy and once interest rates rise a little bit more, and that turns off a lot of investors because money's not free anymore, and then things will begin to calm down a little bit. It's something like 1 in 4 homes in America right now are bought by an investor. And a lot of it is because these interest rates have been so low, it just makes sense. So things will level out, and it'll be easier with from a perspective of bidding wars, and will we have to go ham on all these terms every weekend and just give away the farm just to try to get into a home? And, that's going to change. Again, the exact date, who knows, but that is going to change. But the question is, will home prices be lower then? And almost certainly not. Appreciation will slow, but it's not going to stop. And like I said, prices almost certainly aren't going to drop. So even if it's easier to get into a home later this year or next year, it's probably not going to be cheaper, especially with interest rates rising. I mean, you can look historically at much higher interest rates, and it just dramatically affects your buying power. So in a way, it's still a good time to buy a home. And that's why so many people are buying homes, because a lot of transactions are happening, but that's why homes can't stay on the market and we don't have any supply, because they're all just getting snapped up immediately. Okay, so enough complaining and talking about how bad it is and everything else, because who cares? The point is, what do we do? And I just told you, just waiting till things get better isn't a great strategy. So what is the strategy? Well, if you're looking to buy a home, just get started now. What does getting started mean? It doesn't mean you have to put in offers. It doesn't mean you have to try to go buy a house, buy a place you don't want, or a place you think you can't afford. It just means get the process started so you can start to learn, because buyer and agent always learns a lot about what they all want and need throughout that process. Really, once you start going to see homes, that's when things really start to refine. You're going to learn a lot as a buyer, and you're going to learn maybe what you thought you wanted is a little different from what you actually want. And so that process is very important. You can just go see places. You don't have to say, oh, we're going to make an offer. Go see places that are theoretically in your price range. See what happens. Keep up with them. See what they go under contract, how long it takes, what they close for. Gain that information, gain that wisdom, and then get pre-approved. I mean, this is a simple thing. Yes, it's a hard credit pull, but if there's ever a time to do a hard credit pull, it's to get your finances in order for a mortgage. And you're going to want that pre-approval ready for when you're ready to buy a home, whenever it is. It doesn't matter if you're not going to buy a house for 2 years. Start that process. Talk to a lender. Get an idea of what things should look like. Get an idea of what you can afford, what you want to afford, what your monthly payments will look like, and get your ducks in a row. And then just start looking. And if you go out with me, we'll just start looking at places. And it's a lot of conversation, a lot of communication while we refine what we want and what we want to do. Like I said before, that first home purchase is building block number one of many towards building wealth and towards financial freedom that you can get through home ownership. And that goes for right now. You are going to build equity if you close on a house this month or next month. You're going to. And how fast will it be? I don't know, but it's not going to be nothing. So you can say, it just doesn't make sense right now. We'll keep renting and we'll keep saving money until we're ready, and then we'll be able to get an even better house, whatever it is, 4 or 5 years down the road. And you can do that. Or you can do your best and buy a place now, even if it's not the perfect place you want, and then you can still save and still buy that better place 4 or 5 years down the road. The only difference is, in scenario one, you will have thrown away your rent money in that period of 5 years. And in scenario two, you will be building equity in a place. So then when you're ready to get that better place, you'll have that nest egg of equity of $50,000, $100,000, even more, that you can do whatever you want with and probably put it towards the next house. So you can either buy a more expensive place that's going to be more comfortable for you, or put more money down and make your monthly payment lower. Or maybe you're not a first-time home buyer. Maybe you are looking to move to that next home that you're going into. Maybe you're looking to invest, whatever. The principles are the same. So start the process now and just see what happens. And okay, so what else are we doing? Well, the way to make this really sharp and competitive is really sit down, figure out your needs. This is definitely things that we want, and then the things that we don't actually have to have. A lot of things that would be nice to have, right? We all want to have everything. But if you can be really judicious about separating those two and saying we actually don't care that much about these things, or they're not important to me or to us, that's going to be helpful and let you target the homes that you really do want to go all in on. And then really think about what concessions and what offer terms that you have available to you that you're able to make. Because once you find a home you want, it behooves us to make the strongest offer possible. What does that mean? If it means you got some cash for a down payment, let's do a bigger down payment. Appraisal gap, same thing. If you don't have those things, what else can you do? Can you limit inspection? I would never suggest anyone waive inspection altogether, but we can limit inspection to health and safety items. We can waive the inspection objection and keep the termination, which basically gives us the right to inspect, and then it's a take it or leave it deal. So we have all the information, but then we can still terminate, get our earnest money back and everything if we don't like what the inspection brings up. Do you have time to stay in your current place? Let's do a 60-day post-occupancy agreement, whether the seller asks for it or not. This is an easy one. It's a little bit of a pain, but this is something we can offer to make our offer stronger. Let them stay there for a little while. Who cares? You bought the house. That's the important thing. That's the hard one. And then here's a really important one that I don't think I've brought up before, but honestly, don't be afraid to ditch your realtor. It's such a personal thing. And it might not be that they're a bad realtor or not good at their job or anything like that. You just might personally not jibe with them. The communication style might not be going well. It might be someone that's a really high performer and you're not maybe getting the love you need, whatever. If it's not working, there are too many of us, good ones out there, for you to stick with someone who's not working out. You're going to be in a foxhole with this person for a long time, and maybe you already are. And you're seeing that. And it's got to be someone that you're going to want to be in that foxhole with. So make sure they're sharp, make sure they communicate, make sure they're listening to you and what you want, and they're doing everything they can to help you achieve your goal, because that's what matters. A lot of the time, people got ideas about what they want to do. Great, we all have goals, what we want to do in our businesses and in our lives, but the point is, the reason you do this job is for the buyer, for you guys. You're the hero of the story. We are the guide. We are here to get you from point A to point B. We're going to do everything we can to get you there, but we want you to be thrilled at the end of it. And if that's not what you're getting, that's out there. So it's something to keep in mind. And last thing, this really goes along with that a little bit too, but as annoying as it can be and depressing as it can be and just of a slog, overall, this process is fun. And let's keep that in mind. It is fun to go look at houses. It is fun to think about buying homes. It's fun to envision yourself there, to look at different parts of town and to see where you want to live and picture yourself there. And then it's fun to make offers. It's fun, the whole thing. It's emotionally charged, but the process is fun. We get to walk through other people's houses. They just let us. It's a great thing to do. So keep that in mind. Regardless of how it's working out, it should be a fun process. And if I'm your realtor, I want to have fun with you because I'm having fun. As much as this is a serious process, right? And we're going to do everything we can to put together the strongest offers and to put everybody in the position where they're going to be comfortable, but also winning. We're all having fun together because this is cool. Done a lot of boring jobs and this isn't one of them. So I try to keep that in mind and I try to communicate that to my buyers too. We should be having a good time, going out, seeing houses, maybe having happy hour after, whatever. And then when we finally get that house under contract, and then when we finally close, that's when the real party happens. And believe me, it's gonna be a good time. That's it, guys. I feel like I was rambling today. Sorry, I didn't mean to rant. Just wanted to level with you. Just wanted to check in and explain where things are and my thoughts on everything. And so it's a bear out there. It really is. But if you have any questions, please reach out. My contact info is below. It's in my bio. I would love to be your real estate resource, your go-to resource here in Denver or wherever you are. Just for questions, if there's any way I can help, let me know. This is what I do. And like I said before, I want to help you achieve your goals. So hope this was helpful and I'll talk to you guys soon.